Today we're going to talk about fiction books. What are fiction books? Remember, fiction, the genre of a book, can be fiction or nonfiction. A fiction is a book that is made up. It's not real. I think of F for fiction like false. It's not real. It's made up. There are different kinds of fiction books. In our mini lesson today, we're going to be talking about the different kinds of fiction books. There are fantasy fiction books. Now, fantasy is like when animals talk or animals act like people. A book that we've read is Sophie's Masterpiece. That is a fantasy because it was a spider that looked like a human, and she talked and she thought like a human. And that's not possible, so that's fantasy. Then there's the realistic fiction. These books are kind of confusing. Sometimes we think they're nonfiction, but they're actually made up stories, but they could be real. They could actually happen. The characters, the setting, the problems could happen in real life. And that's like The Can Man. We read the book The Can Man. That could actually happen, but it was still made up, so it is called nonfiction. Then there is folk tales. We'll get to that a little bit later in the year. We'll talk more about folk tales, but folk tales are a pretend story that cannot happen in the real world. There is repetition in it, and sometimes the character trick each other. So that is a folk tale. Those are different kinds of fiction books. So today I would like you to think about that, and when you understand the kind of fiction book you read, it helps you understand the book. So down in the box on this slide, I would like you to pick out a fiction book. Hopefully you have some books at home. And in the box, type out the title of your fiction book that you have read. So read a fiction book, a book that's not real, that did not happen. It could either be fantasy, realistic fiction, or a folk tale. And then type the title in the box. And then now share with your parent or your classmates what kind of fiction book was it? Was it fantasy? Was it realistic fiction? Or was it folk tale?